Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the March 23rd Committee of Council meeting for the Town of Three Rivers to order. In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is unceded Mi'kmaq territory. Epawik, Prince of Rhode Island, Mi'kma'ki is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respects to the indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this land for over 12,000 years, past, present, and future.
Yes, I'd just like to make a comment before the meeting starts.
Go ahead, Councilor.
I was absent on March 9th for a meeting. Excuse me, I was at a province, a trip that my wife and I had booked months and months in advance. There had been an online comment that read, "A number of cowardly councillors strategically absent." I would like to address that I was in Newfoundland supporting my wife at a, a national event for powerlifting. So if people want to say that I'm a coward online, by all means, give me a call, ask me where I was, what was going on. The cowardly person is the person posting those comments, along with saying we were strategically absent for a vote. And I just want to make that clear. Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying that, Councilor Monroe. There's usually a number of those comments that go around anyway. They're hard to deal with, but so I'm on item number 2 is the approval of our agenda, and I move by Councilor McFarland, second by Councilor McLean. All in favor? Aye. Okay, carried unanimously. And third is disclosure of conflict of interest. Is anybody in a conflict on anything that's on our agenda this evening? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to adoption of minutes. The adoption of the February 25th Committee of Council minutes are in your package on page 2. So a motion to adopt those minutes is presented. Moved by Councillor Monroe and seconded by Councillor Van Donkersgoed. I'll give you a minute to have a look at those minutes. If there's any comments or errors or omissions, you can let us know. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Motion is carried. 4.2 is adoption of the draft February 25th, 2020, adoption of the March 16th, 2026 special council meeting minutes. Mover and a seconder for those minutes. Moved by Councillor Van Donkersgoed, second by Councillor McLean. I'll give you a minute to have a look at those. They're on page 5. Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Okay, motion is carried. On page 8, we have some business arising, which is the response to resident Charlie Hickens' comments at the last submission at the last meeting. I just want to say that in order to better answer anybody's questions, not just Mr. Hickens, it would be more appropriate to submit the documents in advance of the meeting. Mr. Hickens' document, I think, was 4 pages with a number of additions to it. And to ask staff to respond to this number of inquiries when they don't have the questions or the submissions that to review beforehand is difficult. And I did not ask staff to do that at that meeting, since there was over 4 pages of inquiries Mr. Hicken had. If we receive the information from anybody that wants to submit information, we can have time to review it and bring the answers back as we have tonight. And we can provide the answers at the meeting that the speaker would like to attend, and if they want to speak at that meeting, that's great. Also, at the time, I noted that many of Mr. Hickens' questions and concerns had already been responded to at the March 5th Planning Board meeting, which is where that should happen. Planning Board's job is to provide council with the necessary information and details to make an informed decision. That information comes out in your package and council does have ample time to review it before the meeting. Councilors also have ample time to ask questions at the meeting before the vote is taken. If they feel they don't have the proper information or enough information, Mr. McFarland asked a question at that meeting, and I know there was a number of planning board members that asked questions at the March 5th meeting. So before I turn it over to the CAO just to review Mr. Hickens' concerns, which there is in your package, the complete written reply. Anyway, thank you. I'll turn it over to John.
Thanks, Your Worship. As requested, I will provide a summary of the questions raised by Mr. Hicken regarding the development permit application for the Visitor Center at the Buddhist Monastery in Heatherdale, along with the administration's responses. Overall, the concerns fall into two general categories. First, matters that are outside the authority of the town, and second, matters that have been reviewed and found to be consistent with the town's official plan and development bylaw. And I'll just take a moment to walk through the key points. Mr. Hicken requested that council delay its decision to allow for additional review, including matters such as fire department input and groundwater capacity. We have confirmed that these matters are not part of the development permit process. Fire and building safety are addressed at the building permit stage under provincial legislation, and groundwater and well-related issues are also regulated by the province. Questions were also raised regarding the legality of the land consolidation and references to external investigations. It is important to note that the development officer has a clear authority under the town's bylaws to approve these land consolidations. Further, any external investigations into land holdings and other activities such as the IRAC or the RCMP investigation are outside the town's jurisdiction and are not considerations in the planning review process. Applications must be evaluated based solely on the official plan and development bylaw. Mr. Hick has stated that the parcels are identified by IRAC for non-development under the Lands Protection Act. This is not correct. In this case, restrictions no longer apply as the property is under the municipality with an approved plan and it's therefore governed by municipal planning bylaws. There were also questions related to the property tax classification. We can confirm that property taxation is not a planning consideration and does not factor into development decisions. With respect to the classification of the building, Mr. Hicken suggested that the proposal was incorrectly treated as an accessory building. We can confirm that the property is a zoned institutional with the monastery as a primary use. The proposed visitor center supports that use and is appropriately classified as an accessory building under definitions in the development bylaw. Mr. Hicken raised a concern regarding front yard setbacks. Based on the site plan, it is easily identified that the visitor center is not the forwardmost building on the property and is therefore not located within the front yard as defined by the bylaw. There were additional concerns about the building resembling a dwelling. Again, this is a non-issue and we can confirm that accessory buildings cannot be used for habitation. The visitor center is not approved for residential use. It was suggested that if this plan is approved, any resident can apply to build a similar building and could not be denied, although the bylaws state only one main building per lot, and this does not fit the definition of accessory building or zoning regulations. This observation concerning the development bylaw is not correct. The development bylaw already permits multiple buildings in a number of zones and contexts, and once again, each application is evaluated on its own merits. There were concerns raised about the master plan. It is important to note that the master plan predates the town's planning documents and is not a binding document and is for references only. Applications are reviewed based on the current official plan and development bylaw. Additional concerns related to access points and road approvals fall under provincial jurisdiction and are not part of the town's review process. With respect to environmental matters, including the suggestion that an environmental impact assessment should be completed. This is entirely a provincial responsibility. The town does not have the authority to require or enforce an EIA, and that has been confirmed by the IRAC dismissal of Appeal LA 25-05 from Blair Sorry against the town. Finally, Mr. Hicken suggested that additional planning expertise was required. I want to point out that the town's planner is a qualified professional and is a member of the Royal Town Planning Institute, and their expertise has been recognized by government entities. In summary, staff, planning board, and council have reviewed the application in accordance with the town's development and bylaw. This proposal is fully compliant.
Thank you, John. The written reply to that can also be found in pages 8 to 13 on your package. We'll go to number 6 now, which is presentations and delegations. Tonight we have one speaker, Carla Gibbs. Carla, welcome, and if you'd like to come to the podium. We have 5 minutes, allow speakers 5 minutes for their address to council. And I think you've been here before, so.
Yes, it's been a while, but I've
Yep.
been here. Is this on?
Yeah, no, it isn't. You have to, yeah,
Bottom right?
yeah, you're on now.
Okay. Well, it's good to see all of you. I hope you all had a wonderful March break.
Can
And
we just-
wasn't the first day of spring, the wonderful day of spring?
We'll just get your.
My name.
Yeah, name and where you're from.
I'm Carla, I go by Morgan, Carla Morgan. Once I found out that even when you're married, you can keep your name, I changed back. My mother-in-law was not my favorite person, and I wasn't hers, and Mrs. Gibbs never fit. So yes, I'm Carla Morgan, but I do love my husband. It's been 57 years.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, spring brings to my mind the beginning of celebrations. And we have celebrations coming up for Montague. And we're already starting to think about the parade and a theme for the parade. I'm wearing my Belle Cloche mascot, which is badger, blaireau. And Montague just recently approved an otter as the mascot for Montague. So I've been wondering, what are the characteristics of an otter? That's one thing I've been wondering. And just last year, everybody who was at our house, and it was quite a few people, including people of all ages, went down to see the Montague Parade, which was something that hadn't been happening for a while, and they loved it. They loved the trucks and the cars and the motorcycles and so on. And so I'm glad that they were there, because I missed more floats and time to think about it ahead of time. And so I'm hoping that whoever is responsible for that does come up soon, and that it's on the website, the theme for this year. And I thought it important enough and to talk about it ahead of time, and that's what was on my mind. Any questions?
Yeah, thanks for the reminder. I'm sure there'll be some information forthcoming on the parade. I'm not sure exactly when, but I think it's a
I know it's
work
not.
in progress for the whole
Here, there
year.
was one other thing I wanted to say, because I walked home from the fire station today by Creative Studios, and he has on it, "Joyful art for hopeful people," and love is an action. And it just fit in with my feeling about how important something like the parade is. Yeah, and having a theme that people can start working on. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Yep. Okay. We are down to number 7, which was reports. We just have the one report, which is from the Montague Development Corporation, their quarterly update as of March. It's on page 14. Questions on the report? Yep, go ahead, Al.
Yeah, I was wondering if we could find out how many people are on a waiting list for dockage down there. I'm just curious to know if we have that information. If we could find that out.
Yeah, we don't, but.
Yeah, if we can find it from
ask-
Brogan,
Yeah, we
yeah.
can ask.
Yeah, thank you.
Brogan.
Great.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, if there's any questions on that or anything in that report, if you don't, if you think of anything, you can, email us and let us know. So that's moving on to 8 on page 15 is request for decisions. RDF 26-09, appointment of municipal electoral officer, MEO, and the deputy MEO. It's that time again for elections, to start preparing for elections, and I'll let John take that request over.
Thanks, Your Worship. With the municipal election scheduled for November 2nd, 2026, the town of Three Rivers has entered into an agreement with Elections PEI to administer the election on the town's behalf. In accordance with the Municipal Government Act, Section 40-1, council is required to appoint a municipal electoral officer and a deputy municipal electoral officer on or before the second Monday in May, which would be May 11th, 2026. As Elections PEI will be managing the election process, it is recommended that council appoint Tim Garrity, Chief Electoral Officer, as the town's municipal electoral officer, and Stephanie Thorpe as the deputy municipal electoral officer. So the request is to appoint Tim Garrity as Three Rivers municipal electoral officer and Stephanie Thorpe as the deputy municipal electoral officer.
Okay, thanks, John. Are we in favor of moving that ahead to the next regular meeting? Okay. Okay, we'll move on to 8.2, which is an amendment to Schedule A, the municipal fees bylaw. And I'll let Daniel lead us through that.
Thank you, Worship. Planning staff are seeking to capitalize on the success of the Housing Accelerator Fund initiative concerning accessory dwelling units, or otherwise known as ADUs. ADUs are limited by floor area and attract the up to 1,000 square feet dwelling fee. It is therefore proposed to waive the fee associated with ADU proposals and continue to promote their growth as an alternative form of lower cost housing. An amendment to the municipal fees bylaw Schedule A is being requested. At the end of the HAF program, the impact of the fee waiver will be reviewed. So the request is to waive the ADU fee currently charged at $100 through an amendment to Schedule A of the municipal fees bylaw schedule as drafted.
John?
Can we ask a few questions on ADUs before we agree to move ahead, or, are they, do we have any of these in Three Rivers now? Okay. So are they allowed in urban and rural areas?
You have to apply, and yeah,
But they're not specific just to an urban area? Okay. So they can be put on private property, or they can be done in a development?
oh,
Or they can be created in a development?
So they would be, like, anytime anybody applies for ADU, there is, like, they would have to still fit within setbacks, that sort of thing. There is a whole section in the development bylaw in regards to ADUs, and so they have to fit within those rules in order for them to be permitted. But this here is for us to hopefully entice people to do ADU so that some of our HAF funding initiatives can be met, because we're going into the last year and we want to meet those initiatives because the funding on the other side will be greater than the loss of the fee.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
have any questions? Okay, move it forward. Okay, we'll move this forward. 8.3 is job description updates there in your package.
Danielle, take that.
Okay, Danielle, are you gonna lead us on that as well? Page 25.
Thank you, Your Worship. As part of an internal review, 5 job descriptions have been revised to more accurately reflect the actual duties and responsibilities of each position. Previously, these roles were all grouped under the generic Public Works seasonal job description, which did not accurately describe the scope of work, required skills, or accountability for the individual positions. Over time, these roles have evolved to include distinct functions and operational responsibilities. Continuing to rely on a single broad job description create inconsistencies between assigned duties and documented expectations. The revised job descriptions now clearly outline the specific responsibilities, reporting relationships, and required competencies for each role. These updates improve clarity for staff, support appropriate supervision and performance management, and ensure the town's job documentation accurately reflects how the work is being carried out. No changes to staffing levels are associated with these revisions. The intent is strictly to align job descriptions with actual duties being performed. The request is to approve the revised job descriptions for Splash Pad Park Attendant, Cavendish Wellness Center Seasonal Cleaner and General Maintenance, Seasonal Sports Field Technician, Public Works Seasonal Gardener, and Public Works Seasonal Day Docks and Welcome Center Attendant.
Okay, any questions for Danielle on those revised job descriptions?
No, I'd
ahead.
just like to say thanks for the work. It's, looking through them, it does look like they're an accurate description of what people are doing, so thank you.
Cindy?
Thank you, Your Worship. Where it says responsibilities two in the breakdown of the position, the designated assignee, when will they be let know to the people who that designated assignee is? Like it says it's for the wellness center, it says Marina Facilities Manager or designated assignee. In several places that is here throughout these updates. I'm just wondering.
So the first title that's listed would be their main supervisor, manager, that sort of thing. So the designated signee would just allow you, if that manager was, say, leave of absence or on vacation, and somebody else has to look after the role of supervising that particular staff member, that would be an example of a designated assignee. It's not on a consistent basis, it's more of in the absence of that main manager or supervisor.
So how do the staff, the workers, how do they find out who that assigned person is? Are they told
Yes, they
every
would
day
be.
or?
Yeah, it would be kind of similar. For example, if John's on vacation and then I'm acting CAO, well, then staff are all aware, and as well as council are aware of that I'm filling in for that role while he would be absent. That'd be an example. So it'd be similar to that in a different scenario.
Okay, so it won't be difficult for, I'll just say, a worker that's down at the gardens in Georgetown, one of the staff workers that's there to know who the designated person is.
No, it shouldn't be difficult. It's
Okay,
it's management's responsibility to let them know.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, anybody else? Move it forward, okay. So this is the end of our regular meeting, and we do have a closed meeting after this. If we need to make a motion, we will open back up to do so. So, motion to move into a closed session, Councillor Van Donker's good, and Councillor McFarland. Okay, so that's the end of our public meeting, but if we do have to come back to make, we will do that to adjourn and make a motion if we need to. John, could you go open the door and see if you're on? You're on? Yeah. Yeah, well, if there, anybody would like to come in to the open meeting again, could you? Well, you just go to the door and I guess and see if there is anybody out there. Okay, just to clarify, we had a closed session under the MGA section 1191E, and we were now back opened up into our regular open session. We checked and there is nobody that's coming back in that we can find, so there was no motion to make in our closed meeting. So I'll move for an adjournment. Moved by Councilor Monroe, second by Councilor McFarland. All in favor?